Commission on Human Rights warned that Kenya was heading back to the dark days of the disappearance of some critics. Since June last year, should I say, the number of such cases stands at 82, and this has resulted in protests in various parts of the country. Now, opposition politician Senator Okiya Omtatah and several protesters were arrested this week when they took to the streets before police hurled tear gas canisters at them. Joining us is Francis Mutegi, the editor of Nation Media Group. Francis, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it. Let's just talk about the situation as you see it as well on the ground, if you may give us an update.
Well, the situation at the moment is a little tense, I want to say. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Indeed, it has been a very confused scenario in terms of what really is supposed to be the way to go for the general public, because the police department has denied involvement of their officers in these all incidences of increased abductions, especially of the young generation, especially the young activists who are involved in trying to push the government to engage in positivity and, of course, end what they believe is hardship in the country. And for that reason, it is a situation that now leaves everybody a little confused, because when you are disappearing in broad daylight and never to be traced, and in most of these cases, we've been hearing incidences where these abductees end up being found dead, then it becomes very, very confusing for the general public, because they do not know how to protest about this because of the worry that you could be a victim as well. In the latest reports on Saturday, this is yesterday, we found news of the body of one of the gentlemen who have been missing for the period since 24th of December 2024, was found in a thicket somewhere, while another one was found just a few days earlier in another region of a neighboring county to Nairobi, that is Kiambu County, while about 4 or 5 days earlier, there was another one that was found, and another family that has been looking for its own kin who has been missing since November also found the body of this abductee, or so to say, the missing person, in a hospital morgue in Thika that is still in Kiambu.
Just give me a sense again,
if you... that neighbors Nairobi, the capital city. And so these incidents have really caused a lot of scare.
Yeah, just give me a sense again. Government ultimately is denying all of this. Is that correct?
Yes, indeed. The government has denied involvement. The General Police Service has also denied involvement. And so they are saying that police cannot be involved in abducting people because their main duty is to maintain law and order. And for that reason, their responsibility is to protect people from such abductions. Unfortunately, they've not been able to do the same. And the people who have been abducted quite often have been giving reports of the sort of arrestees, or the people who take hold of them or who abduct them, claiming to be police officers who are looking for people who are being accused of engaging in what they believe is criminal activity, especially on social media, because of what they say is spreading of untrue or information that is not appropriate or is not correct about the government. And so when the police come out to deny this all claim that the officers that are involved in this arrest are police officers, then it becomes extremely difficult for people to know who are the abductors. However, it has also been very, let me say, confusing beyond this whole scenario, because the government has been saying that the parents need to take care of their children, discipline them, and make them decent in terms of how they engage the public in social media. And a sort of sentiment that the president said and made sort of confirmation that they know who is involved, but the police have denied involvement, and they have said they do not hold any person in their cells in the name of abduction or abductees. And so we wait and see, but most of these incidences have ended up with these people being found lifeless.
Yeah, so in terms of then what they say is actually happening, why is it that if they believe that they're not responsible for it, what are they actually doing then to curb and stop it? Is this happening at all? Or is this them just saying that, you know, everyday people, citizens should just be more careful, and that's all they're going to say about it? So they're planning to do absolutely nothing about it?
Well, it is a scenario of it's a catch-22 sort of scenario, because for sure the police have denied it is their responsibility to ensure everybody's safety, and of course let's do the necessary in terms of trying to trace who have been abducted and bring them back to their families. The courts have already issued an order to the police and seeking the Inspector General of the police to appear in the court this coming week to come and produce especially the 6 people who are currently missing. Of course, one of them has since been confirmed as the one whose body was found yesterday. And so this is a wait-and-see situation to see what report the Inspector General of Police will present in court, if at all he will appear, because he was supposed to appear this past week, but he failed to appear. And so we wait and see if he will appear in court, and if he does, he's supposed to produce these people who are missing. And if he doesn't produce them, what information will he give to the public in terms of what role are police playing in terms of protecting people or trying to trace those who are missing? And so that is a scenario that is totally confusing. It has become political, at the same time insecurity sort of story, and at the same time it is also a social issue, because the families of these missing people are really in distress, and it is a very, very worrying scenario for many people, especially those who are criticizing the government, those who are against what they believe is policies of the current administration. And so we wait and see what the police will tell the court, if at all the Inspector General will appear in court this coming week.
Any word then from other leaders from neighboring countries as well, whether it be from Tanzania and the like, and of course then the broader African Union?
Well, of course, there has been a lot of criticism of this whole scenario, including the United States government, as well as the European Union and all the ambassadors who belong to that union of European countries. They've also issued their statements condemning these acts and seeking the government's decision or action for that reason as to what should be done about this whole thing and how it should be stopped. The president promised that this will end. He did that about 4 or 5 days ago, but the incidences have not stopped. We've had scenarios where people have been missing in the last few days, and those that have been found dead, 3 or so in the last 2 weeks. And so we wait and see if at all these international voices will play any part. And of course, the African Union itself has also presented its concerns. And what makes matters even more confusing is the fact that a Kenyan candidate, that is Raila Odinga, the former prime minister, is seeking to become the chairperson of the African Union Commission in the February elections this year. And so we also want to believe that issue is supposed to be one of the matters that will be pointed out as a concern, because the general public in Kenya is not happy at all with these scenarios, and it's not happy with the administration in terms of those acts of abduction, as well as some policies that have been protested by the public and leading to this sort of anger and public distress, and eventually, of course, social media abuses. Of course, the government has also come out to say that those young people who are using the social media to criticize the government, to criticize its policies, or even abuse the government in sometimes very unpalatable languages and images of cartoons and so on.
Sure.
Need to discipline themselves, if at all they want the government to take action in terms of protecting those who are being given this freedom, because they are saying, as much as we are a democratic country, freedoms have limits, and so they also need to be aware of that and tame themselves.
Yeah, very difficult and treacherous situation, actually, then, Francis, because this needs some solid answers then from the government as soon as possible. Thank you so much for your help, though, with understanding this story. Francis Mutegi, the editor at the National Media Group in Kenya.